everybody, it's the War Hipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we're painting something very exciting. We're painting Vandus Hammerhand. Yes, this miniature right here, well, not specifically this one, but this one was the one that started me out on Age of Sigmar many years ago. I absolutely love this model, and well, I'm very excited to paint this one for you today. So we're going to jump in and we're going to start painting. He has been primed in Wraithbone, and the colour we're going to be using first is Gryph-Charger Grey, and we're going to be applying this over the top of the belly of Kalanax, and also the kind of softer inner bits. So there's the kind of softer inside of the tail and of the neck and stuff like that, but the easiest place to of course start that is here on the belly. So we're just going to get this all over. Just like this. And then once that's all done, we shall come back. So with that Gryph-Charger Grey applied all over, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Stormfiend, and we're going to apply this over the top of everywhere we haven't applied Gryph-Charger Grey. Still in the midst of applying that Stormfiend, one thing I didn't really mention was what happened when you came up against some of those areas where there's kind of the two colours meet. So just kind of demonstrating over the top of the head, we're applying the Stormfiend still. I'm going to apply this over the top of these hard scales like this, and then I'm going to get to the kind of edge, as it were. At which point, once we've got it all looking pretty good, we wash the brush, get rid of the water, and then we just blend into our Gryph-Charger Grey like that. So it's not a totally hard transition line. You can see I've done the same thing here on the neck. I just completely blanked, completely forgot to mention it our last time out. There you go. Lesson learned. So with that all done, what we're then going to do is we're going to take another layer of Stormfiend, and we're going to apply this over the top of all the Stormfiend. It's the same deal again. If you need to, just do a little bit of blending, just like we showed you in the corrective clip. And so with that all done, what we're then going to do is take some Space Wolves Grey, and we're going to apply this over the top of the entirety of the Dracoth, including the bits that we did originally with the Gryph-Charger Grey. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to dry brush the entirety of the mount using some Russ Grey, and we just want to very gently apply this over the top of all the scales and skin. With that Russ Grey dry brush applied, we're then going to do an even gentler one of Fenrisian Grey. With that Fenrisian Grey dry brush applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Blue Horror and we're going to very, very gently now dry brush this over the sharpest areas. Like so. But we're also going to dry brush this fairly normally over the top of the softer skin areas. So with that all done, we can now move on, and we're going to move on to the face. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take some Volupus Pink and we're going to apply this over the top of the eyes, like so. We're going to apply it inside the nose, like that, and we're going to apply it over the top of the inside of the jaws, otherwise known as a mouth. Next up, we're going to take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this over the top of the largest spikes on the body of the mount. For example, those ones there on the leg and these ones on the head. And so with that done, it's back to the mouth, and we're going to take some Blood Angels Red and we're going to apply this over the top of the tongue and the inside of the cheeks and the roof of the mouth. just like that. And so with that then done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Morghast Bone. And we're going to use this to essentially pick out all the teeth and the claws. Now this is basically what we would be doing to correct the teeth, using some Wraithbone, for example. However, should just save time by using the Morghast Bone. Like that over the teeth, for example, but similarly, as mentioned, over the top of the claws as well, where we've definitely got a load of blue all over them. However, if you wanted to, correct these with Wraithbone and then use a little bit of Skeleton Horde over the top instead. And with all that Morghast Bone applied, what we're then going to do is take two colours, Nuln Oil and Black Templar, and we're going to apply this over the top of the horns. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by taking Nuln Oil, and we're going to apply it over the top of the horn. Like that. Then we're going to wash the brush, grab a little bit of Black Templar, and then we're just going to apply the Black Templar like this over the tip of the horn. Then we're going to wash the brush, get rid of the water, grab a little bit of Nuln Oil, and then just use that to blend the two colours together. And with that all done, we're then going to take some Reikland Fleshshade. I'm going to use this over the top of the claws. So with that all done, we're going to keep going, and we're going to take some Cygor Brown next, and we're going to apply this over top of all of the leather details. With all that Cygor Brown applied, we're then going to take some Blood Angels Red, and we're going to apply this over the top of the saddle blanket. And whilst we're here, we might as well also apply this over the top of the helmet plume as well. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Talassar Blue, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the blue details, and there are a lot of those. So we've got these kind of flat smooth armor panels on the Dracoth. like that. We've got the kind of reins. Like so. And we've also got the main event, which is the cape. But we've also got, just remembering it, this little tilting plate in here as well. With all that Talassar Blue applied, we're then going to take some Ultramarines Blue and we're going to apply this over the top. And so with that all done, don't worry if the blue's a little bit ropey. Mine is, certainly on the cloak. We're going to fix it a little bit later. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come to the main event, which is of course all the gold. And the colour we're going to be using for that is some thinned down Retributor Armour. Now I'd recommend having the box art in front of you because, well, there's a hell of a lot of gold. So we're just going to start applying this all over, everywhere that needs to be gold. See, I wasn't kidding. It's a whole lot of gold. So, what we're going to do now, we've done all of that gold, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this over the top of the gaps and joints in the armour. With that all done, we're then going to take some Skeleton Horde and we're going to apply this over the top of the parchment. And so with that done, we're then going to take some Sigvald Burgundy and we're going to apply this over the top of the haft of the hammer. So with that all done, our next colour is going to be some Gryph-Charger Grey. We're going to apply this over the top of his hair. And so with that then done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors and we're going to apply this over the top of pretty much all of our remaining details. So this is going to be the things like the hammerhead and the little rings and things. However, we do have a bunch of details that are going to be white. So this is going to be all the lightning bolts and stuff like that scattered all the way around the model. We're going to leave those for now. I'm going to do something different with them in just a minute. So with that silver all applied, we're now going to add some shades to the model. And the first of these is going to be a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lahmian Medium and Fyreslayer Flesh. And we're going to be applying this all over all of the gold. And I promise this won't take nearly as long as applying it. Well, the gold, that is. You know what I mean. And with that all done, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Nuln Oil and we're going to apply this over top of the silver and all of the bits that are going to be white. So that is all of the little lightning bolts and things like that, as well as the inside of the cloak. And with all that Nuln Oil applied, it's not really a shade, but it is something we do need to do. We're going to take some Wyldwood and we're going to apply this inside the writing on all the parchment. So with that all done, Vandus Hammerhand is now what I would call a war hipster battle ready, except he's sort of technically not, because he's a little bit beyond it in some ways, and in other ways he's not quite there. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some relayers now, and well, the first of these is going to be some thinned down Corax White, and we're going to use this to relayer all of our white details. So with that white all relayered, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Kantor Blue. I'm going to thin it down with sort of 4 or 5 parts water to make it nice and runny. And we're going to use this as a corrective glaze over the top of the blue details. So with that all done, we're now going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour, and we're going to use this to relayer all of our wide open gold details. Just avoiding any of the recesses so that we can leave that lovely shading in there. Just like that sort of thing. So with all that Retributor Armour reapplied, what we're now going to do is we're going to move on to the highlights. So the first of these highlights is going to be a roughly 2 parts Stormhost Silver to 1 part Retributor Armour mix, and we're going to use this to highlight all the gold. This is going to take a little while because there is an awful lot of gold, but just take your time. Move methodically around the model And then once that's all done, we'll come back. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is move on to the blue, because the gold is all finished. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Alaitoc Blue. I'm going to use this to highlight, well, all of the blue. And so with all that Alaitoc Blue applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Hoeth Blue. I'm going to use this to pick out the sharpest corners in all that blue. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Dawnstone, and we're going to use this to highlight the black details. So we've got areas such as the gaps in the armour, we've got those little spikes and things. Dotted around on the Dracoth. So with all that Dawnstone applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Administratum Grey. I'm going to use this to do two things. The first is to highlight the horns. Just like that sort of thing. However, the other thing we're going to do here is we're going to use the Administratum Grey to add a little spot highlight to the sharpest points in the hard black details. Scattered around the model like that. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Evil Sunz Scarlet. We're going to use this to do two different things. One is to highlight all the red, and that's easy because we can just get at the red here. However, the slightly more tricky bit that we're going to work on is we're going to take a really small amount of this Evil Sunz Scarlet. I'm going to use this to pick out the eyes and the eyelid. So we're just going to very steadily take a small amount of this and pick out these little ridges. Just like that. I'm going to do the same thing on the underside of the nose. So with all that Evil Sunz Scarlet applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Fire Dragon Bright. I'm going to take a teensy tiny little dot of this And we're going to apply this over the top of the eyeball. Just like that. But what we're also going to do, just making sure that it kind of stays in focus. There we go. So add a little, tiny little spot highlight on the underside of the eye. Just like that. And then, once again, slightly easier, we're also going to use this to pick out the sharpest edges on the saddle and the hair. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Screaming Skull, and we're going to use this to highlight all of the talons, the teeth and the parchment. So with all that Screaming Skull applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down white scar, and we're going to use this to highlight all of our white details, including his little bit of hair that we did with Gryph-Charger Grey. So with all that white scar applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Breaker, and we're going to use this to highlight all of the silver. And that of course means that we have finished Vandus Hammerhand. And so with the base complete in the same style as the rest of my Hammers of Sigmar, Vandus Hammerhand at long last rides again at Warhipster Towers. I painted this one a long time ago, and well, I now have a Hammers of Sigmar version. I'll try and dig out a photo of the original one and see if I can share that with you guys somehow, because you can see how far I've come as a painter just by looking at this one. I love it so much. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.